Hey Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Innes, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. Don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby Dooby Doo, Scrappy Dappy Doo, Puppy Power, like and Shaggy too. And you've got the Sullivan Project podcast. It's coming at you right now.
Hey Google, stop. Hey everyone, what's up? This is the Sullivan Project podcast. It's Harold Sullivan here, your host. It's a great Sunday, glorious day. We're here. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:26 p.m.
Okay. That way we know what time we got here. I'm blind, in case y'all haven't tuned in before. I was born disabled. I'm 44 years old. I went blind about a year and a half ago. That's a whole other story, a whole other episodes if you want. You can check back at other episodes. I appreciate it. This is going to be the 23rd episode so far. Uh, like I said, I was born disabled, went blind, all that jazz. And we all have a story. You can't judge a book by its cover. We all have a story. And that's what this podcast is about. Everyone has something. We all been through stuff. How did you get from where you were to where you're at? You know, if you want to be on the podcast, let me know. If you want anything to, if you have a specific thing you want us to talk about, because sometimes I have guests, sometimes we just do audio, sometimes we do video. Uh, Let me know. I'm on the social media, Harold Sullivan 78 on TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78 YouTube, and then Facebook, which is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Facebook is Harold Sullivan period 35. I have Messenger on there, and I can answer. I have voice, so I can answer with the calls and stuff. Otherwise, just leave me messages or whatever. Add me, share. I appreciate it. Follow, all that good stuff. And I'm not selling nothing here. Love is free. You know, light is free. It should be, and that's all we need. That's what we're here to do, to love. So and to grow. Uh, Again, I appreciate y'all being here. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. Grace of God that I found that thing a while ago. So actually, speaking of that, I'm now in my fifth time in the Bible. I started in about a year and a half or so since I got the audio Bible. So grace of God about that. We'll talk more about that sometimes. If you want to talk about the Bible, hit me up. Uh, People are all different though, so you can have all different religion. There's no judgment. That's what's so great about it, and I'm learning more and more about it. Don't judge anything. People, they ain't hurting you. They ain't hurting you. You know what I mean? Everything is not bad. Everything's not the devil. You know, man is the devil. That's a Sullyism I've come up with. Uh, One man is every man. That's another one. I'll talk more about those. I have things I've been writing. Psychic stuff been kicking in even more. I was already empathic and stuff, but I had no clue until I lost my sight and all this stuff just started coming in. So, some angels. I have an angel list of people that have passed on. I mentioned some every few episodes. People that I know or were close to me. So I got a couple more names. Jared is a friend of mine, good friend. We had a couple of Jerrys, I think. At least one Jerry. We got a couple Cocos though. I think I mentioned Tara before. Jimmy, Norman, Anthony, who I used to play hockey with. He was very young, maybe not even in his 20s or 30 at the latest, at the oldest, I should say. But you know what? They're not all gone. They're not gone. We're not gone. They're not gone. We're all here. It's just a different frequency. Everything is energies, vibrations, and frequencies. If you want to check out a book, it's called the Afterlife Frequency. I got the audio version of it. It was one of the first audio books I had that I got. And I've listened to 105 other, not counting the greatest book of all, the Bible, of course, which I'm in my fifth time now. And I've done all this in a year and a half. So we did some angels. And then, yeah, books. there's some podcasts I listen to, a couple more that I've added. The first few I found were a bunch of some psychic ones, which really helped me. Spirit led me to that, and I just that's how I started to find things, and just be like, wow, it just blew me up my mind. And so the original ones I had, Psychic Spectrum was one, but they don't do it anymore on but I think they do it on YouTube still live because it was an older couple. So look for them. Then you have psychic teachers. You have a psychic story, I should say. So you have psychic teachers, a psychic story, psychic spectrum. Then you have psychic. Let's see, psychic. We're all psychic, which I've been on, and I was on there on 2 episodes recently. Vessel Harold's interview, and then the other one was they did Sagittarius. So I was a guest for their astrology for that. What's the other one? Psychic Evolution is the podcast. And so Psychic Teachers, the one lady came out with a book, which I just got it. It's called The Awake Dreamer. I got the audio version. I recommend it. And it's got some stuff in it. I mean, about time, about just anything. We do all this in our sleep. We're sleeping is like a third to half of our lives, and people don't realize it that you're more awake when you're asleep, because that's when your soul can travel. You can do anything. You could go to back in time. You could go in other people's dreams. You could go to heaven. You could go wherever you want. You can do what you want. You're not bound. And this body is just. It's like we're going to sleep, and this body is to sleep. And and then another point which I realized I hadn't heard it put this way, but that's all you need is someone to put something a certain way. You know what I mean? To hear it once. And this lady says that, see, we always feel like we're missing something. We're trying to fill it though with drugs, alcohol, whatever, sex, eating, any kind of addictions, because we feel like something's wrong and we're missing something. There's a piece missing, and that's because we're not home. We're not whole, because we're all part of the collective, and we're just a little spark right now, puppeting this little body around. So, but she thought about it. When we go to sleep and we go to night, we can die again and go back home. Then we can come back to this body again. So we can actually go in and out. We can go back to heaven or whatever our religion or how our things are, or who we believe in, whatever. We have the freedom to do that when we go to sleep. It's so deep to think about that. You know. So I mentioned the podcast. I mentioned some angels. Let's see here, podcast. A couple of Sully-isms. Let's see. So how about we mention TV dads? I got to thinking about this the other day with my brother-in-law. Sorry, I just vaped before. Got a dry throat, but I didn't want to get nothing to drink. I wanted to get right on this. Been having stomach problems lately. I think it's getting too old. Caffeine and pop, and I need to drink more water. I've had kidney stones since I was 16. And it's just something, boy, with my little 75-pound body I got. But yeah, well, TV dads, best TV dads. If you guys think of any of these, if you all think about some, let me know, or write into the message, or call in now 724-513-1472, and you will get the Sullivan Project podcast. And no judgment, no discrimination. If you want to be on the show, we'll talk about it. If you want to just say something about it, or hey, or if you need someone to talk to, call me. No crap, no games, though, none of that. Only love and light. And I am accessible. I am a real person, and we will grow and learn together. And I am a ride or die type. So uh, that's the number for the podcast. So yeah, best TV dads, and this is probably from before the year 2000, because yeah, I don't know. But let me go back and remember some here now. If we go back to way back, we got My Three Sons. Then we had Leave It to Beaver. Who else did we have? We're just going back up from like 50s, 60s on up. We get into the to the 80s. We got the Huxtables. We got who else do we have? The Drummond. The Huxtables is on Cosby Show. The Drummond was, what was that? Oh boy, not Webster, but different strokes. And then you had Webster. I can't remember that the dad there, his name. And then you got Silver Spoons. You know what I mean? And then you go up into where you have Family Matters. And then you had what was his name? Carl Winslow, the father. And then that's where Steve Urkel was on. Then you have Full House, which might be the greatest one. Danny Tanner, God rest his soul. Uh, uh, let's see here. Well, there was kind of three dads, and there was actually My Two Dads was a show on too. I think it was after that, which was a good show where there was two dads on that. And so that's a neat little. If I can remember a couple more, I'll mention them. A neat little game there to try to come up with hey best TV dads. That was something different. You know, 80s and 90s and that's where I grew up watching TV, what I could see. And so they were like I learned a lot from them, and they were good dads for not being real dads. I mean, that's what we had if you sat in front of a TV. You know, it's like people did comics. I had TV. So let's see here. Couple. How about movies that were never made or close to being made or made that were scrapped? A lot of people don't know about these kind of movies. Hey Google, what time is it?
136.
Okay. So yeah, some movies that were made or never made. All right. Let's see. We'll go back to Fantastic Four. There was a Fantastic Four movie that was actually made, and you can find DVDs, maybe bootleg on eBay. Before the Jessica Alba one, it was scrapped, but I thought part of it was pretty good. I mean, the effects were kind of cheesy, the makeup and that, but it was actually a guy in a suit running around as the thing, and the Fantastic Four looked more, and Doctor Doom looked more like the original Doctor Doom. The actors and actresses were not really I don't think, but it was decent. So we got that one. We have a couple Superman movies that were never made that people don't know about. There was actually a Justice League movie that they were about to start, uh, and this was before Superman Returns. And they actually had let's see, Army Hammer, is that his name, to be Batman, C.J. Catrona to be Superman, Brody to be Flash. I think it was Adam Brody, Adrian. I can't remember back then. Whoever the Brody was, it was one of the Brodies. It was an all-star cast. They even had like I don't know. You can maybe find wardrobe pictures online still, but it never came. Warner Brothers canceled it. It was supposed to be directed by Judge George Miller, I believe. Mad Max series. Think about that one, Justice League. George Miller. Before that, there was another Superman movie, and there's a documentary actually called Superman. It's called The Death of Superman. Superman Lives, and this was going to be the death of Superman. This was going to be Tim Burton's Superman. I mean, his movie, his Batman was my favorite Batman, the first two with Michael Keaton, as far as Batman films. And when that came out in '89, oh my gosh, and the merchandise, as a kid being 10, 11 years old, it just blew you away. This was Batman, like just a new Batman. Because all we had before that was the, what, 60s Adam West. So, but it was going to be Tim Burton's Batman, as far as, or Tim Burton's Superman. And it was going to be Nicolas Cage with long hair. He was going to wear a black suit. Some of his suit was going to have lights in it. And I mean, they were just going to really. And Kevin Smith wrote the script. The director, writer, uh, Silent Bob from those movies, in case you don't know who he is. He wrote the script, and they actually started shooting test shots, which you can find online, with Nicolas Cage landing and flying as Superman. And hey, I was up for it, it never got made. Sandra Bullock or Terry Hatcher, I believe, or not Terry Hatcher, Sandra Bullock. There was another actress at the time that were up to the lead for the lead of Lois, but I believe it was Sandra Bullock. And then we had Chris Rock was supposed to be Jimmy. We were gonna have a black Jimmy Olsen even before the new Supergirl show that actually has a black Jimmy Olsen. And again, I don't mind changing characters, colors, whatever, any of that. You know what I mean? As long as it doesn't impact the original idea of the character as far as they had to be a certain way because of the storyline, you can change it. You know what I mean? So other movies that were never made. The Quantum Leap movie was on hold for a long time. Now they're talking about a supernatural movie. And this Quantum Leap movie, Sci-Fi had bought the rights to Quantum Leap to try to bring it back, and they never did, and I don't know what happened. But supposedly the movie was going to center around Sam, Dean, not Dean, Supernatural. Which is weird because you got a Sam and you got a Dean in Supernatural, and you got a Sam and you got a Dean in Quantum Leap. Dean Stockwell, the actor. But it was going to have Sam and Al and Sam's daughter, who had, he actually, I don't know how they explained this away, but I do remember one of the episodes, somehow Sam got a lady pregnant, and then they found out in the future she's working on the Quantum Leap project. So her name was Sammy Joe. So this was supposed to be, oh, she's going to find her dad or whatever. Which, what happened to that story? So that's another movie never made. We got a couple other movies never made. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which they made a comic out of. And they were right up to meetings for that. And I believe how it went down was Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell went in and met with New Line and them. And they said the only way we would do this movie is if you let Ash win and he has to beat Freddy and beat Jason and for all times. And you can never bring Jason or Freddy back again in a movie. And they said nope. So that was the end of it. But look what have they done since then? Nothing. Where's Freddy? Where's Jason? Jason was in the right courts issues. The original writer for a while from 1980 had something in his contract where he couldn't get any money for 35 years, which is stupid. But that's the way they did back then. They got hired to write a script. They gave him a couple bucks. And the dude never got paid for making Jason up or creating the Friday the 13th franchise. So now nobody owns Jason, or he does, and it's been years since they made a movie. And what happened was the company had to make a Jason movie every 4 or 5 years. If they didn't, that's when they would lose their rights, and they lost the rights. And Freddy, well, I don't know what's going on with him. But Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, yes, was going to be an actual. They've actually done a couple comic book series since then. But it was going to be a movie. So let's see what else here. If I can think of any other movies, there were so many movies they talked about making, but they never did. Uh, other alien movies. I mentioned alien movies in the last one, or UFO type movies. There's one called Enemy Mine, which I believe was Lou Gossett Jr. and what's the guy's name? Quaid, Dennis Quaid, and it was about a pilot. I don't want to give the story away, but he was taken to this. He was on this alien planet, and he had helped this alien. They were enemies, but they had to help each other to survive. Basically, it's called Enemy Mine. And Paul is a comedy. It's got the guys who did Hot Fuzz and what's that zombie? Which is a great zombie movie, Shaun of the Dead. It's called Paul. It's a comedy. Seth Rogen does the voice for the alien. I don't want to give that away, but it's pretty funny. And then we have the Last Starfighter, which they never did a sequel to, which is a great movie. And it's got the guy from the guy from Halloween 2 that plays Jimmy in the hospital. The ambulance driver who drives Laurie Strode in. They kind of have like a thing going on, a little crush thing. And he wasn't in too many movies. I don't know what happened to him, but he actually gets recruited to play this video game in space. He has to pilot these ships, but it's called The Last Starfighter, and it's because he's so good at playing the video game that they come and the aliens get him and they take him. And then The Fifth Element is a Bruce Willis movie, which kind of has aliens and space. Chris Tucker's in it. It's one of the girl that played Resident Evil, Mila Jovovich's first movies, if not her first movie. And she plays, the lead female. Let's see, what else have we got here? Here's a movie people don't know about a lot about. Popeye, the Sailor Man. Popeye, the cartoon, and Robin Williams in the late 70s or mid 70s did a singing movie where he was Popeye. And it was what was it called? Musical. And then Speaking of TV shows and Terminator and all that, Terminator, or Time Travel, I should say, Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles was out for 2 seasons. Check that out if you can find it. I don't know why they didn't continue it, but I kind of liked it. And it picked up after Terminator 2. John was a teenager, and they were on the run, and the Terminators were still coming after them. It was a TV show. Fox, I think, when Fox did it. And James Cameron, who created Terminator, actually was going to do Spider-Man. This is a movie I forgot to mention. It never was. Spider-Man before the Tobey Maguire one. James Cameron written the script. You can find or wrote the script. You can find it online. And he was putting all this stuff together to do this freaking awesome Spider-Man. But for some reason, the company went with Sam Raimi, which I love. Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, the director. Uh, yeah, I don't know. They scrapped that movie. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:46.
Yeah, so they scrapped that movie. Another one that we could have had. So, oh, Night Court's back on TV. I checked out the first episode. It's kind of decent. It's funny. It's almost, they cast pretty much like the same original as far as different types of characters and actors. So I can listen to it without the sight and almost imagine, hey, this could be Night Court. John Larroquette's in it though, again, at least for now. Uh, and then there's an new Ant Man movie coming out. Let's see what else. That's pretty much as far as new movies. And I want to keep you up to date on all that stuff. I still do listen to TV and movies and wrestling, and stuff that I used to be into that I still can listen to without the site. And I'm going to talk about some Sullyisms here. It's like I said, I've been writing songs, I've been writing this, I've been writing that. Oh, again, the Sullivan Project on YouTube, Harold Sullivan 78, on TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78, and you can find me on Facebook, Harold Sullivan 35, and contact me. I'll have someone read the messages, or you can message me on Messenger. I got the voice automated thing, or call me on there on Facebook if you want to be on the show, or if you got anything you want us to talk about. We talk about catfish stuff too. If you got stories you want to get out, or you want to come on and say, or you want me to say for you, I've been through that too. I talked about catfishing in other episodes. Go check them out. Uh, and we do paranormal. We talk about paranormal, spiritual, metaphysical, supernatural, and then movies are entertainment. Uh, Anything. It doesn't matter. Just talk. The truth is free. So Sullyisms, yeah. So I got a bunch of them. Like I said, one man is every man. Okay, everything is always for something. Think about these things. You can't. Everyone can't be fixed. Okay, everyone can't be fixed, but they can all be saved. All right. Up with Jesus or down with sin. God got me. Who got you? And he's just been coming to me. You know what I mean? Over the last year and a half, plus like 20 songs that I've written, which in the audio recorder, my sister helps me type them out here and there, and I'd like to do music and maybe make some music. Music helps too, helps heal. Let's see what else. Praise always, of course. Uh, Believe in you. That's a new one that came to me recently. Just believe in you. That's it. God. God are we are God. That was one of the first ones, which is very deep, if you think about it. We're all connected together, so we're all God. We all do what we all do affect everything. Energy affects everything. There's so many things going on in dimensions at once, and you have no clue. And I had no clue. Now I got a little bit, and then it's just not this. This is just one thing right here. You know. So I want to say to everyone, be the light, and remember, love is a choice, and so is to hate.